Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video. Now, today I'm going to be addressing the rumors that the Carolina Panthers are now in the market for a true number one wide receiver. Now, last year, the Carolina Panthers went all in to draft a new franchise quarterback in Bryce Young. Bryce Young has had a rocky start to the season, but he is still very young, and obviously the Panthers have a lot of hope in him. Now, in order to maximize his talent, it's best that you surround him with good receivers. And the first person that comes to mind for a lot of people would be a guy like T. Higgins. T. Higgins, along with that entire Cincinnati Bengals team, have had a very rough start to the season. An unexpected rough start to the season, as they have been contenders not only for their division, but their conference and for the Super Bowl in these past 3 years. T. Higgins, very good wide receiver. On this team, he could easily be number one guy. And he would be. Obviously, under the shadow of just Jamar Chase, he would have huge opportunity to shine in Carolina. Cincinnati has made it clear that they would like to move on from him probably next season. But even with the rough start that they have had, I don't see much sense, and I've talked about this before, I don't see much sense in moving him this season. I know it's not looking good. It really isn't. But this team can come alive on any given Sunday. And, they play against the Arizona Cardinals this week. It'd be a good opportunity to win, even though as a Cardinal fan, I think we're going to show them what's up. I think we're going to whoop them. But, Cincinnati, it's a very good team. I don't know, just because I don't know why they're starting off the way they are. Joe Burrow, playing through an injury. Nobody's clicking on that offense. But still, that team is very good. There's little to no difference on the team that made the Super Bowl and the team that took on the Chiefs and should have beat the Chiefs if the NFL wasn't rigged. But, like I said, this team is still in contention, no matter what their record is right now, so it wouldn't make much sense to move T. Higgins. Now, I don't think that deal is going to happen, unless the only reason that would happen is if by deadline, the Bengals are just so bad, it's like, this season's a wash, let's just dump them now. Then I could see potentially something like that happens. Now, some other options outside of T. Higgins would be, for me, the first person that comes to mind would be a guy like Jeudy. Obviously, we know that Denver Broncos team is heading for the ground real quick. Hopefully, for them, they're going to land the number one pick. They can get Caleb Williams. That would be a massive step in the right direction. They've already got a $100 million hole in the ground with Russell Wilson under center. You're not dumping that contract. I don't know who's taking it. I don't know how you would get rid of it. It's not going to happen. But this team is awful. They had 70 points dropped on them. They barely eked out a victory over the winless Chicago Bears, who, that was a battle of the ages only because we get to see the two worst teams go against each other. But that team, they're rebuild phase. I've talked about them before. And I think it was just poor management how their team has been built. You bring along an aging Russell Wilson, who was over the hump. You could tell by his age and how he had played that he was over the hump as a prime Russell Wilson. And you still bring him in with a team that's just like mediocre. And you expect big things. Well, now is definitely the time that you're going to start to see Denver start to offload some of their best players. And Jeudy has been a guy that has been in some trade talks for these maybe a couple years now. now would be a perfect time. I don't think he would be as expensive as giving away Courtland Sutton. And I mean that's one thing Carolina needs to watch is their draft capital. Moving up to number 1, it was a huge haul. Not only did you give up picks, but the reason why you need a number 1 receiver is because you gave up your number 1 receiver to move up to 1. And now you're a little bit in debt, so you gotta work with what you have. And Jerry Jeudy, I think, could be not only a just a smart move, but it could be a financially smart move in regards to your draft capital. I mean, with the way trades work, the most I would see them giving up is a 4th-round pick. And I think that's doable when you need a wide receiver. And this is a wide receiver who's very young and still has a lot of potential. Now, I'd like to propose my own theory on this. I mean, that's what I am, Shep Nerdy. I'm supposed to be a nerd about this. And I haven't heard anyone said this. Maybe if they have, it's not picking up traction. But me personally, I do believe Carolina is going to make a move for someone. I don't think it's going to be a wide receiver. And one of the reasons for this is because they have Adam Thielen. Like I know you're going to say, well, Adam Thielen is obviously not in your long-term solution, your long-term plan. He's still your number 1 guy. And to shake up that offense, a guy who's built familiarity with Bryce Young, it wouldn't make much sense to move on from him or bring in another guy at receiver. Now, when you look at some of the quarterbacks around this league, when they struggle to find a guy on the outside, to find a speedster, to find your slot guy, who do you go to? Or maybe I'll form this in a better question. Who does Lamar Jackson go to? Who has Lamar Jackson gone to these past couple of years? Because he's never really truly had a great number 1 receiver. The closest he got was Hollywood Brown. He went to Mark Andrews. Who does Joshua Dobbs go to? He goes to Zach Ertz. Are you going to get a Mark Andrews? No. But what I'm saying is a nice safety blanket, and there's no better position to get as a nice safety blanket for a young rookie quarterback than a tight end. And this offense would be suitable for a solid tight end. They make Hayden Hurst look good. If you're making Hayden Hurst look good, you bring in a guy like Kyle Pitts. Okay, Kyle Pitts is a generational talent. I don't know why he's not finding the success he should be in Atlanta. Some people have said maybe it's just him. No, I don't think it's him. They have not gone to him. For some reason, they're making Jonnu Smith look like the better tight end. I think that kind of thing just falls on the system of Atlanta. I mean, this is a guy who can line up at your slot receiver. This is a tight end that moves like a receiver. What better guy to have for a young rookie quarterback than a generational type talent at tight end? Tight ends make quarterbacks look good. Easy dump-offs, over the middle, red zone threats. They do it all. If I'm Carolina's GM, that's what I'd be looking at. I'd be picking up the phone and calling Arizona. Arizona is very high on Trey McBride. They're not a young team, they're a rebuilding team who does not want aging players with large contracts. And that is Zach Ertz. You could eat some of that contract. You could give Bryce Young a number 1 guy. No, is he going to be in your long-term solution? No. But I'm saying someone along those lines would be better than bringing in a receiver a problem that you can address in the draft. I sincerely doubt you're going to get Brock Bowers. You don't even have a first-round pick. But there are players that, especially this draft class, which is loaded, which I'm going to do a video on because there's just so much talent to talk about, where you can get true number one talent, first-round talent at receiver falling into the second. And I think that would be the perfect scenario for Carolina. But that's just my thought. Obviously, most of this probably won't even come to fruition until the trade deadline. So we'll have to see. But it's always fun to speculate. That's what I love doing. I love talking about trades. And I'll always talk about the latest trade rumors. So make sure you subscribe so you can know when I put out these videos. Because at the end of the day, I have the best analysis on football. Most of the guys on ESPN. They call me Shep Nerdy for a reason. But that's going to be it. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day.